Have you ever felt like you've reached the absolute point of no return? I mean, a situation so broken, so catastrophic that the idea of fixing it seems laughable?
Oh, absolutely. That moment when the damage isn't just done, it feels permanent, like a vase shattered into dust. You can't glue that back together.
Exactly. And that is precisely where we find ourselves today. We are looking at a text that emerges from the wreckage of a nation. It's arguably one of the most pivotal moments in ancient literature. We're talking about Jeremiah, chapters 30 and 31. But here's the twist. Jeremiah is usually known as the weeping prophet, right? The guy who delivers nothing but bad news.
Right. Usually it's all doom and gloom with him. But this section is different. Scholars actually call these two chapters the Book of Consolation. It's like the sun suddenly breaking through a week of thunderstorms. It starts with a command to write everything down, not because it's an obituary, but because it's a deed to the future.
A deed to the future. I like that. But let's set the scene. The people are in exile. They've lost their land, their king, their identity. The text describes men gripping their stomachs in agony, like women in labor. That is a visceral image.
It is, and it's intentional. The text calls it Jacob's trouble. It's a unique time of distress, but the metaphor of labor pain is crucial here. Pain usually signals injury or death, but labor pain signals life. The text is suggesting that this agony isn't the end of the story. It's the birth pangs of something new.
So God is saying, I'm going to break the yoke off your neck. That's the phrase used, right? The transition from captive to free. But B, we've heard this story before. They get free, they mess up, they get conquered. What makes this promise different?
That is the million-dollar question. And that's where chapter 31 completely changes the game. You see, the text acknowledges the deep trauma. There's this haunting image of Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted because they are gone. It's the ultimate expression of grief.
It's heartbreaking. It feels like a wound that can't be healed.
Precisely. The text even says, "Your wound is grievous, your injury incurable." But then, the tone shifts instantly. God says, "I will restore health to you." And he does it not just by bringing them back to the land geographically, but by changing the mechanism of their relationship.
You're talking about the new covenant.
Exactly. This is the centerpiece of the entire text. In the past, the agreement between God and the people was external. It was written on stone tablets. It was a rule book you had to check yourself against. And what happened?
They broke it repeatedly.
They broke it. But here, the text introduces a radical concept. God says, "I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts." He's saying, I'm not just going to change your circumstances. I'm going to change you. It's no longer about obeying a command from the outside. It's about an impulse that comes from the inside.
That's a profound psychological shift. It's the difference between forcing yourself to be good and naturally wanting to be good.
Spot on. And it solves the problem of history repeating itself. If the law is part of your DNA, so to speak, you don't need a neighbor telling you to know the Lord, because that knowledge is intuitive. It's personal.
There's also this interesting bit about sour grapes. Can we touch on that?
Oh, the proverb. The fathers have eaten sour grapes, and the children's teeth are set on edge. It was a common saying back then, basically blaming the previous generation for their current suffering. We are suffering because Dad messed up.
It's the ultimate victim mindset. It's not my fault.
Right. And this text dismantles that. It says, essentially, no more of that. Everyone is responsible for their own life. It empowers the individual. You aren't just a victim of your ancestors' mistakes anymore. You have your own agency and your own direct line to the divine.
That feels incredibly modern. Individual responsibility coupled with internal transformation. But let me play devil's advocate. How can they trust this? They've been burned before. The city is in ruins. How do they know this isn't just false hope?
The text anticipates that anxiety, and the answer it gives is cosmic. Literally, it points to the sun, the moon, and the tides. It argues that the physical laws of the universe are the guarantee.
So as long as the sun rises, the promise holds?
Exactly. It says if you can measure the heavens or search the foundations of the earth, only then will this people be cast off. It's linking the stability of the moral order to the stability of the physical order. It's an assurance of permanence in a world that felt temporary.
That is comforting. It's grounding their hope in something they can see every single day.
It is. It's moving from a maybe to a certainty.
As we wrap up, B, looking at this ancient text, it seems to trace a journey from absolute despair, Rachel weeping, to this rebuilt city and a transformed heart.
It does. And I think the lingering thought here is about where we look for change. We often look for a change of scenery, a new job, a new start, essentially, a return to the land. But this text argues that the only restoration that lasts is the one that happens inside. The new covenant isn't a new set of rules, it's a new nature.
A new nature, that's a powerful place to leave it. It asks us to consider, are we just trying to follow the rules, or are we letting the law be written on our hearts?
A question worth asking every day.
Indeed. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
If you have been blessed by this, please like, subscribe, and share this joy with others. God bless.